Hi, I am Jessica Ardeal with the Professional Healers Institute. Thank you for tuning in to crack the code of your body's intelligence, because today's featured health expert does that every day. With over 30 years experience teaching and working with clients one-on-one, she single-handedly takes the mystery out of illness by communicating directly with the body's intelligence through muscle testing. I'm so happy that she's here joining us on the panel of experts. She is a certified instructor with the International Kinesiology College and specialized applied kinesiology practitioner, Suzanne Lizauskas. Welcome. Hi. Thank you for your time.
Hi, Jessica. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate your time and effort.
What was your introduction to muscle testing, and how did you first respond when you experienced it?
My first experience with kinesiology was with a chiropractor in Connecticut who very simply touched me on my cheek, my right cheek and then my left cheek, and determined that I was low in sodium. And I had been everywhere, looked for answers, been through all kinds of testing, different modalities, different doctors, and nobody could find out what my problem was. And this man, in less than 2 minutes, with a simple touch to my left and right cheek and using a one-arm muscle test, determined that I needed sodium. And I was astounded. Within 3 days, most all of my symptomology went away. I was clear-headed, I had muscle strength, and so I was astounded by this, and I thought, what is this? I couldn't understand how it worked. I couldn't understand, and I didn't really care at the time. I just wanted results. It was weird to me. I'm very logic-oriented, and so when he tested me and I did what he said, I saw results. So that prompted me to come back again when I had a neck injury, when I had my lower back hurt. And instead of chiropractic, he used kinesiology to determine why my body wasn't holding the adjustments. And I was just amazed at the results. And over a few months, over a period of time, his secretary asked me to take a class. And it was a Touch for Health class. And I said, why are you asking me? You have 200 people that walk through your office every week. I said, why would you ask me? And she said, and she named off all the qualities that she saw in me. And I just thought, well, nobody talks like that. Nobody compliments anybody just out of the blue like that. So I took the class. I was very happy with my results that I was getting at the chiropractor's office. So I took the class, and it was level 1 of Touch for Health. And I learned kinesiology, how to muscle test accurately. And I was amazed that this wasn't more known. Now, this is back in 1985. So I was just shocked that this wasn't known. It wasn't out there more than it was. I finished that class. I was elated. I wanted to go to the top of the roof and shout, we can find out what's going on in your body, and we don't have to use verbal language to do that. So muscle testing to me is accessing and determining where the blocks are in the body, and removing the blocks so that the body can self-heal. It's really the body that heals itself. And what muscle testing does is it just tells us where the stress is in the system, and what step by step is needed to create the foundation in the system so it can start to self-heal.
Can you speak to the power of the body's innate intelligence and that healing capacity a little more, how muscle testing accesses that?
That's really an interesting question. You know, just recently, I have been still formulating this field of existence that we're in our inner environment. And I thought, well, we're only so big. Where is all this coming from? Where do we have this resource coming from? And I realized that we are bodily connected to nature. Okay, nature is a very powerful force. So we're bodily connected to nature. We have an inner function of our body that goes on without us, without our conscious mind. But then we have, and as a nature is also always self-perpetuating, isn't it? It's always planting, it's always regenerating, it's always growing. So even though winter comes and everything's dormant and dies, it looks like it dies, it comes back in the spring. Well, we're connected to that ability to heal. What happens to us through our lifetime is we have experiences from our sensory perception and our body perception. So we run into things, we have our teeth pulled, we have our tonsils out, we have, we have, heaven forbid, falls, bumps, injuries. So we have these outside forces that come into our body, that impacts our body, and it creates a block to that intelligence being able to express and regenerate itself. Now, we're built for survival. We are built with a fight and flight mechanism and a rest and repair mechanism. And our bodies are only so big. We can only handle so much stress because we only have so much room in our body. So when we run out of room, that's when our body starts giving us symptoms. And we try to figure out we try to get it to be quiet, number one. And then the other thing we try to do is we try to figure out what's happening, and we try to address a symptom. When really a symptom typically is an accumulation of long-term stress, a long-term history of different types of stressors from our environment. So muscle testing accesses, when it's used properly, and when I say used properly, it's not a Ouija board. It had a bad rap for some time and still does in some circles. It's hard to believe because the conscious mind likes to be in control of things. But muscle testing determines stress, no stress. And when the body is under stress, a lot of times it'll transpose information. And we do that verbally. If we're in a car and we've been in the car for a long time and somebody's been driving and we say, take a left, I mean a right. Okay, so we've transposed verbally because we don't know where we're going, right? So we're under a little bit of stress. And so the body transposes left to right, top to bottom, and front to back. And the body simply is a hologram to the brain as well. So the more access we have to our brain function, the more our body can communicate more fully. But as I said before, when the stress is gone, the body typically can reset itself and rest and heal. But over time, we lose that ability to do that because of our accumulated experiences from the outside, inhibiting the internal communication from working. Now, innate intelligence, that is per person. It's a global, it could be universal intelligence that we're talking about, but it's actually the intelligence the person is born with. So we have so much going on inside of us. We have our genetic codes. We have our blueprint in that code for our eye color, our hair color, how tall we're going to be. So we have some blueprints that are predetermined. But we also have our interpretation of our experiences in this lifetime. Some of those can be skewed from our grandfathers and forefathers' experiences. So we are like a bundle of energy walking around in third dimension with this electrical, neurological communication going on from our brain to our body. And there's so much wisdom in our bodies. to self-heal and self-regulate, and just kind of waiting to express itself. And we get so hung up on our logic part of ourselves that we forget that we have this untapped field inside of us just waiting to communicate. So we have that intuition part, we have our soul purpose, we have our connection to the bigger intelligence, the higher intelligence. People call it God, universal force. But those fields of existence exist inside of us.
What is the number one thing you want people to know about muscle testing?
There's many different forms of muscle testing. People use it all the time. And for me, I need accuracy. I need clarity. And clarity starts with knowing the science of how the body communicates, the transposing of information left to right, top to bottom, and front to back. So the body is literally a hologram to the brain. Once the body is, let's say, cleared for takeoff, is set up to be able to respond clearly, there are ways that you can access your own information using your body. Now, I've seen videos on how people lean forward and they lean back. They use the O-ring, the O'Mara test. They self-test themselves that way. But the testing that I would love the world to know about is a two-arm test, two-handed test on how to get your yes and no's from the body. There is an intelligence that is just waiting to communicate to the conscious mind. It is a powerful force inside of all of us. Some of us are more layered than others. Some of us have had more traumas than others throughout our lifetime. But the body is still there waiting to communicate and to tell us and guide us. It doesn't really tell us anything. It guides us. It brings us step by step to an unfolding of ourselves that we could only understand when we're living from our insides out. Okay, so the muscle testing can be as simple as, it is optimal for me to. Now, the thing about muscle testing, it doesn't make conscious decisions for you. Okay. We have to use our consciousness for living on this third dimensional plane, but the intelligence inside us will guide us to our next experience, our next unfolding. We're always there. The intelligence inside of us, I have to say, just wants us to experience life to the fullest. And really, we're here to experience life, and life is full of contrasts. So it's my job to bring those contrasts into a balanced state. That's really what we're here to do. So foundationally, we can stabilize the third dimensional body. I use mud packs to determine what is needed to stabilize the hands, the feet, the spine, the head. So we do need to address the body from the outside in. Once we've had our fill of bodily experiences, and the body no longer seems to be able to self-heal and self-regulate. So that's the beginning, is making sure the organ functions are up properly, making sure that the hands and feet, spine, head are stable. And then we can go in and communicate to see what type of nutrients are needed.
Your practice is word of mouth. You don't advertise. And usually when people find you, they've been everywhere and tried everything. What can you share about the willingness that it takes to experience muscle testing, or will it be effective no matter what the person is going through?
Interesting. My first pamphlet took me about 3 months to write because it was very hard for me to put this incredible experience of the knowledge that's in the body and to format that to the logical mind. So it was really quite took me quite some time to start to do that. So 3 months later, I come up with a pamphlet. And in the very bottom of the pamphlet, the very end, it said, skeptics especially welcomed.
Oh, wait, hold
And
on. The internet just buzzed a bit. What did it say at the bottom of the pamphlet?
it buzzed.
Like it cut out what you said.
And at the bottom of the pamphlet, it said, skeptics especially welcomed. This type of information is for people who are willing to take responsibility for their life, for their health. It is for people who are tired of not finding an answer and tired of living with their pain or discomfort. And it's for people who are ready for change. Because what this does is it changes your communication pathways from the inside out. Okay, so kinesiology, for those who don't know the definition of it, kinesi is movement and ology is the study of. So kinesiology is the study of movement. For me, it means from how the brain is communicating to the body, how the body communicates to itself. So the body basically has its own information in it. And kinesiology, with the person that is qualified and really knows how the body compensates, kinesiology is the doorway into this intelligence that everybody's walking around with, but we're going, I don't know. And why don't we know? You know, and granted, no man is an island. We are meant to be here to help each other through our experiences and to expand ourselves in our experiences. And we can only do that with each other. We can't do that by ourselves. However, there is a time when we need to refer inward for our guidance. And that is a limitless doorway of information that we have available to us. We can use our body to access and to open that doorway between the innate intelligence and our conscious mind. You know, I love Einstein. When Einstein wrote, he said, the heart is the master, the mind is the servant. We've created a society that has honored, that has forgotten the master and honors the servant. So we want to figure things out. Things need to make sense to us logically. But when we follow our hearts and we follow our intuition and the emotional aspect of us, it is there to tell us something. And if our emotions are out of balance, it means the body's out of balance. It's not personal. It doesn't mean necessarily it's always a character issue. It's the body dictates to us. And I didn't even realize how much in the very beginning that my body dictated to me. And I was absolutely blown away when my body started to balance out. And it was effortless. It was like being on vacation in my body. And I worked all day long. And I would leave work and I would think, oh my God, I feel like I was on vacation all day long. Because it's effortless being in the body when there is communication happening.
So if you're interested in experiencing muscle testing, what is the best way you would suggest someone start to learn it?
Well, certainly the Touch for Health Foundation is a fabulous starting point for lay people. You can also contact the office. You can contact Jessica. And, I do individual sessions, but I also do group sessions. And I would love to start, I'm in the middle of writing a book. And I would love to start teaching people how to access their own information so they know how their body's compensating, and they know what to do about it. Um, like I said, it's not going to pick lotto numbers for you. It's not a logic function. It's not a Ouija board. But it is a guidance system that we have that has been just an untapped field of information.
Thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate you sharing your insights. And is there anything else you'd like to share before we go?
I just appreciate your interest, Jess, and being able to want to facilitate and get this out a little bit further into the world. I was hoping someday that this would be common knowledge, and I just thank you for the opportunity to bring this information out, and I think that's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.